Gareth, a very good morning to you. I see you are all decked out at the Terminal A arrivals. I guess it's still very early. It's just after 6 o'clock. But true to form, I know that South Africans will be making their way out to the airport today to give a very well-deserved warm welcome to our heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. Morning, everyone. Welcome to the big day. One of two big days as far as the Springboks are concerned. Yes, they're bringing back the Webb Ellis trophy. The first one is going to be today. They're arriving here at Terminal A. So just to give you an update on time, the expectation was about 6 hours from now. I've managed to get the flight number that the Springboks and the entire team on. I was taking a look at one of the flight tracking apps. They're expected, according to that, to actually be touching down at around 25 minutes after 10 o'clock this morning, so it looks like they are going to be here a little bit earlier. Clearly the pilot, Vatan Ngobeni, has decided, no, let's get them home. There's going to be thousands of people waiting for them.
No doubt, Gareth. I think, the anticipation is building up nicely. That Emirates flight is quickly getting the boys here, and that little trophy called Bull, the Webb Ellis trophy, for the second time in 4 years, is touching down on South African soil and staying here for another 4 more years. So, yeah, Gareth, I'm getting goosebumps already just thinking about what's going to be happening here in about 4 or 5
hours. But yeah, it's going to take a bit of time for them. Obviously, they're going to land about 25 after 10. They still have to come through customs. I'd like to see who the customs official is that has to check in the Webb Ellis trophy. I'd love to see what they're going to do when that comes through as well. But Tommy making a good point. It's still fairly quiet now. I'm not too sure if we're able to see that. We've got a couple of flags. Some of the supporters arriving nice and early in their Springbok regalia. But you can imagine this is going to be filled again, just like it was all those years ago. I went actually back and watched 2019 when they came back home as well. You could not move in this airport, and that just shows how much this has meant to the country, even non-rugby fans, Vata.
Yeah, without a doubt, Gareth. I think you go back to 2019, you speak about 2019, there were a lot of rugby-loving fans that were behind the Springboks. However, I think after the feat of 2019 in Tokyo, they were able to galvanize the entire country behind them. So even people who don't understand the game, know the game, all they wanted to see was a winning Springbok team. And the Springbok delivered to them. So you're going to see thousands and thousands of people here at the airport. And, just thinking about what's going to happen on Thursday with the trophy tour, first day of the trophy tour, in Pretoria, Johannesburg, Soweto. Friday it moves to Cape Town. Saturday, Durban. And finishes off in East London on Sunday. I think, these players, they're off their feet on Saturday in Paris. They're going to be really off their feet because we're going to find millions and millions of South Africans rooting for them, just screaming. They want to catch a glimpse of their heroes, people who've given us hope back in this country. Even though we got load shedding back on Sunday, it doesn't matter, Gareth. I think this victory is one for the ages and one that's going to last for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think many people are expecting Fafi to walk out in his Speedo, but I'm afraid it's going to be too cold in Johannesburg for that. It's about 7 degrees outside. Have you had a chance, Vata, now that it's been a good few days since that final? We've all caught our breath. My little watch was warning me about having an excessively high heart rate in those final few minutes. As someone who lives for this, follows this, it's your entire world. When you look back on that final, there's some criticism coming out going, we were actually quite lucky. I would contend, no, that's exactly the way it was supposed to play out. But that was our third game in a row, 1 point. I mean, the Springboks really know how to give us a heart attack at the best of times.
I think World Rugby knows how to give us a heart attack with the draw that they gave us. Toughest draw of any team to have gone on to win a World Cup. You play the number 1 team in the world in your pool. You go on to play the host nation in the quarterfinal, who were then the number 2 team in the world. You beat them by 1 point. You go play England, who had beaten the last World Cup final. You beat them by 1 point. We had no business winning that game. And then you play your greatest rivals in the final, and you beat them by 1 point. But all that matters, Gareth, is that you beat them.
Yeah.
It is a team that's got the most points on the scoreboard on the day that wins. And South Africa managed to do that. And that's all that matters. And it was a final for the ages again. Classic hard-fought game. And you could see the hurt and disappointment in the face of the All Blacks players, but they acknowledged that this Springbok team is probably one of the greatest rugby teams of all time, and undoubtedly to me the greatest Springbok team to have ever played the game.
Obviously, you and I and Sako and Moreno, we're going to be here the entire day, by the way. We're going to give you our viewer question in a moment. We want you to really be involved in today's show. We're going to give you our viewer question. You can send through your messages of well wishes through to the Springbok players. But the reason I'm saying that we're all going to be here later is I want to get all the criticisms out the way so that when the boys start arriving, we can do nothing but celebrate them. I'm glad you mentioned the New Zealanders, the All Blacks. There was some criticism from the All Blacks camp, but aimed at the officiating, aimed at Wayne Barnes. Did they have a point to make, or is it sour grapes to your mind?
I think that certain instances they had a point to make, but no referee is perfect. This is what the game is about. Human error occurs in every single game when there's a human being in charge of the game itself. They had ample opportunity. Borden Braid missed a penalty that should have won them the World Cup. They missed a conversion, Richie Mwanga. So they will look back at the game and say to themselves, we also made mistakes. We didn't take our opportunities when they were there for us. They scored a try, or thought they scored a try, but they'd actually knocked on the ball. So yes, fingers were pointed at Wayne Barnes, and yes, he admitted to have made a mistake. However, they must look at themselves. And I think you speak to the players, or you hear what the players said afterwards. They admit they just lost the game, and they lost to a bitter side. And there's a lot of sentiment coming from a lot of players, or former players, especially from the Northern Hemisphere, who've toured South Africa, who are saying that South Africa is not just about rugby anymore. They were playing for a higher cause. There was a bigger factor driving the Springboks, and you saw it, in how they won their games. They just didn't go away, and that factor, where Officia Kolisi mentioned, was the 62 million South Africans that were behind them. To them it's more than what happens within the four lines. It's what's happening back here in this country, and the hardships that our people are going through. That is what's driven the Springbok team. It drove them in 2019, and it drove them again over the line.
I would say it's the same inspiration that we had in 95, 2007, 2019 as well. We're going to go through a whole bunch of the stats when we join each other again just after 7 o'clock this morning. Just very, very quickly, a lot of questions being asked about Jacques Nienaber. Incredible performance for him. 2 back-to-back World Cups. He's leaving. He's on to, I don't know how you say greener pastures. I don't know what the greener pastures are after this, but he's going. He's leaving us. Any rumour talk that you're hearing about who could be the next person? I know we're here to celebrate, but people are already thinking, hang on, what about the next World Cup?
Yeah, as much as Jacques is leaving, he's going to Leinster, the Irish club there. Felix Jones, one of the assistant coaches, he's joining the English team. And a few other guys are also leaving, but Rassie Rasmus will take over the reins. From what we know,
with his lights.
For at least two years. We know that they've secured the service of Dan Human. We know that Van der Stick, Cleon Davids, those are assistant coaches are still staying within the team, and they've signed on for the next 4 years.
Wow.
So at least the core of the management will remain, and Rassie will probably coach the team at least for the next 2 years. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that between Van der Stick and Cleon Davids, one of them will lead the team in the 2 years leading up to the World Cup 2027 in Australia. 2027
down. Under as well, Vatan Ngobeni, head of eNCA Sport, eNCA editor, joining us this morning. Going to have the entire team with us out here at what is Terminal A. The arrivals are going to be these doors where the Springboks are going to be coming through later. All we're showing you right now is the ground level, if you will. But if I look up, I can see 1, 2 more levels above us, 3 in total. It's fairly empty now. I can see 1 or 2 Springbok fans coming through with some jerseys, 1 or 2 flags. I can assure you, Tommy, as we come back to you a little bit later, you are not going to be able to move. I love the view that as they come through those doors with the Webb Ellis trophy, that what they're going to have is the statue of O.R. Tambo standing here at the arrivals hall as well. There's a couple of the Springbok fans on the middle level. They've decided to arrive nice and early. By the way, if you are planning to come through, I'd recommend you get here a little bit earlier, because you're going to start running out of space very, very quickly. Tommy, as we come back to you, we see those fans in their jerseys already. Let me remind everyone about what we're asking you this morning. It's our viewer question. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Why not? The Springboks are coming home with the cup. We want to know from you, what would be your welcoming message to them? And the reason Vata and I are asking you this is there's a very real chance that today, as the players come through the doors, we're going to have a chance to speak to them. This is probably as good a chance as you're ever going to get to ask your favourite Springbok, your question, or perhaps send them a message of love, of support, whatever it is. Go ahead to X and the SA Morning. It's at the SA Morning on X. It is the South African Morning on Facebook. Send us your comments, send us your message of support, and tell us who the rugby player is, who's the Springbok that you would like us to deliver that to. And when Vata and I and Tsako and Morena find them later, what we're going to do is actually pass that message on. So you go do that on X, at the SA Morning, and on Facebook, the South African Morning. And here you get a sense of the party is going to be starting very, very soon. Imagine the vuvuzelas. Vatan Ngobeni, quickly as we hand back to Tommy. Imagine the noise echoing in here. It's going to be like Stade de France.
Oh, it's going to be worse than Stade de France. I think the vuvuzela will be the Guijo is going to be. Yeah, as you can hear, Gareth. Yeah, I think the fans are just are going to give us an atmosphere that the Springboks have never heard before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a cacophony of noise. It's already started here at OR Tambo. Tommy, we're going to come back to you later. We're building up. If you joined us only halfway through our chat, the Springboks expected to land touchdown around 25 after 10. Live from the arrival of the Springboks, bringing back the 2023 World Cup. This is eNCA, live from OR Tambo International Airport.